Prior to performing any work on the Rexa actuator, all lockout-tagout procedures must be put in place. Refer to plant instructions for proper energy isolations of the Rexa actuator and the attached device from process. Refer to the I and C department for disconnecting the power module and feedback cables if the unit is not equipped with quick disconnects. To disconnect the actuator from the valve, verify hydraulic pressure has been secured. Open the bypass valve to equalize potential internal pressure. Loosen and remove the split clamp. Loosen and remove the bonnet lock nut. The actuator can now be removed from the valve. During disassembly, oil will leak from most parts. To drain the power module, make preparations for the capture of oil from the system, such as an oil pan and rags. Remove the lower reservoir port. Some oil will drain. Push the reservoir piston into the block. This will cause more oil to be extracted. Do not reuse the drained oil. Discard appropriately in accordance with plant guidelines. Remove the upper reservoir port. The local hand wheel, if installed, is a declutchable push-to-activate mechanical device. When engaged, it can be used to operate the actuator. Power must be isolated or the controller placed in manual to prevent inadvertent operation of the motor. The hand wheel is removed by turning the housing counterclockwise. The hand wheel spring and O-ring will be loose and may fall out. Both of these items will require reinstallation prior to reassembly. For removal of the motor, the front cover must be removed to expose the terminal board. Disconnect the motor wires. Refer to the correct wiring schematic for motor terminals. Remove the 4 motor screws and pull the motor out. The motor gasket, outer and inner seals will have to be replaced prior to reassembly. To disassemble the oil reservoir, remove the level scale, followed by the retaining ring. Insert 2 6/32 screws onto the reservoir cover and pull it out. Remove the spring. Pull the reservoir piston assembly out. All O-rings will require replacement prior to reassembly. To remove the drivetrain, remove the 4 mounting screws. Pull the drivetrain out. Remove the pump motor coupling. The drivetrain O-rings and drivetrain reservoir O-ring will have to be replaced prior to reassembly. The pump can be removed to access the pump O-rings at this point. Remove the 4 pump mounting bolts. Remove the 2 pump O-rings, which will need replacement prior to reassembly. The hydraulic pump does not require periodic servicing and should be reused. If the pump has been damaged, it will require replacement. It is a non-serviceable part. To remove the FMV assembly, with the pump removed, remove the 4 FMV mounting bolts. Pull the assembly from the manifold. 2 check balls and springs may fall out. Gather and hold them for reassembly. Two check O-rings and 2 output port O-rings will need replacement prior to assembly. The FMV assembly does not require periodic servicing and should be reused. If the FMV has been damaged, it will require replacement. It is a non-serviceable part. For ease of cylinder disassembly, remove the power module block from the cylinder block. To disassemble the feedback module, remove the cover bolts, cover, and cover O-ring. The cover O-ring may stay in the O-ring groove on the feedback cover. Disconnect wires and remove the feedback board. Remove the feedback takeoff arm shoulder bolt from the piston shaft and pull the potentiometer and the takeoff arm. Remove the potentiometer retaining ring. The potentiometer shaft is threaded into the takeoff arm. Remove the takeoff arm from the potentiometer. Note the spring washers between the takeoff arm and shaft, as they may be reused. To remove the piston from the hydraulic block, separate the elastic coupling from the piston shaft by holding it with a wrench on the flats and rotate the shaft. Remove the anti-rotation bar set screw to remove the anti-rotation bar. Remove the 8 bottom end cap screws and lock washers. Depending on the cylinder, bushings are bolted in or threaded style. If the bushing is the threaded type, a nylon-tipped set screw on each side of the cylinder block will have to be removed before unthreading the bushing. Keep in mind that there will be oil within the system, and you will need to capture it to prevent any spills. Push the shaft out. The bottom end cap will also come out. You may need to tap the top side of the shaft with a rubber mallet. With the piston pulled from the hydraulic cylinder block, remove the 4 bushing bolts. Using 2 1/4-20 screws on the bushing, pull it out. Inspect the hydraulic cylinder surfaces for any damage. Stem disassembly. While holding the shaft upright, remove the retaining ring. Pull out the retainer. The top split rings will be loose and can be removed. Pull the piston and lower O-ring out. The bottom split ring will be loose. Remove the 2 piston seals from the piston.